Hong Kong's first five-year plan from the perspectives of planning, governance, and developmental state, institutional transformation, and policy construction. In 2026, the Hong Kong government announced the preparation of its first economic and social development five-year plan, 2026 to 2030, while simultaneously launching public consultation on the 2026 policy address. This move is far more than a routine policy exercise. It signals a structural transformation in Hong Kong's governance model. Viewed through the lenses of governance theory and comparative politics, this shift can be understood as Hong Kong's gradual transition from market-led governance toward planning-type governance. From annual policy cycles to a medium-term planning system. For decades, Hong Kong's public policy has revolved around the annual policy address and budget, embodying a highly market-oriented and low-intervention governance approach. This model offered considerable flexibility in an era of globalization and financialization. However, its limitations have become apparent: relatively weak cross-departmental coordination and insufficient strategic guidance for long-term industrial positioning and structural transformation. Drawing on the concept of policy coordination in governance studies, when economies enter high technology and high-risk phases, governments typically require medium-term planning mechanisms to reduce policy fragmentation. The establishment of Hong Kong's five-year planning framework represents an institutional response to a complex governance environment, a deliberate shift from short-term policy management to strategic governance. Developmental state theory and Hong Kong's institutional embedding. Successful economic transformation usually rests upon a governance structure capable of achieving dynamic balance between market mechanisms and state intervention. The key lies not only in the state's policy leadership capacity, but more importantly in the existence of an institutionalized bureaucracy and stable government business networks. These enable the government to maintain relative autonomy in industrial strategy while remaining embedded in corporate and social structures, thereby acquiring timely industrial intelligence and coordinating investment directions. In other words, economic upgrading is not merely the result of spontaneous market adjustment, but the outcome of interactions among state capacity, forms of capital organization, and administrative coordination mechanisms. East Asian economies such as Japan, South Korea, and Singapore successfully guided capital accumulation and technological upgrading through medium to long-term industrial planning, selective support for strategic sectors, and highly integrated administrative systems, thereby achieving structural transformation. In this context, the introduction of Hong Kong's first five-year plan signifies, to a certain extent, the SAR government's effort to strengthen its strategic role, aligning with the national 15th five-year plan, emphasis on scientific and technological innovation and high-quality development. This is not merely policy alignment, it represents a deeper process of institutional embedding, the clearer integration of Hong Kong into the nation's overall development framework. The tension between planning and free markets, planning-type governance and free market models are not inherently contradictory. Countries such as Germany and the Nordic states have sustained competitiveness through medium-term industrial strategies and social coordination mechanisms, with the key being institutional transparency and policy predictability. For Hong Kong, the central issue is not whether to adopt a five-year plan, but rather three critical questions. First, whether the plan incorporates institutionalized evaluation mechanisms. Second, whether policies continue to respect the primacy of market signals and price mechanisms. Third, whether the government's role shifts from replacing the market to guiding the market. If the plan remains merely declarative, it will struggle to deliver substantive impact. If it becomes overly rigid, it may undermine market flexibility. What Hong Kong needs, therefore, is a strategically guiding government, not a command-and-control government. Three key elements of institutional construction: 1. Institutionalized evaluation and transparency mechanisms. Hong Kong's five-year plan should establish quantifiable indicators and regular evaluation systems to create a policy feedback loop. This will not only enhance administrative accountability, but also help build public trust. Institutional stability stems from clear rules and consistent expectations, rather than one-off policy mobilization. 2. Strengthening cross-departmental integration. Planning-type governance requires robust policy coordination mechanisms. Consideration should be given to establishing a standing strategic development committee or dedicated office to reduce departmental silos and improve implementation efficiency. 3. Maintaining embedded interaction. The government-market interaction network must be strengthened. Hong Kong can develop industrial consultation platforms, expert committees, and public-private partnership models so that the planning process remains socially connected and avoids administrative closure. Hong Kong's distinct path, planning type open economy. The key challenge for Hong Kong over the next 5 years is how to preserve its international advantages while operating within the national strategic framework. This requires maintaining 3 critical balances: 1. Balance between national development priorities and Hong Kong's local institutional characteristics. 2. Balance between administrative coordination and market vitality. 3. Balance between long-term stability and policy flexibility. From the perspective of institutional evolution, Hong Kong is not simply moving from laissez-faire to a planned system. Rather, it is entering a new stage of planning type open economy. Its success will depend on whether planning can be translated into genuine institutional capacity, rather than remaining at the level of policy documents. To make a conclusion, the introduction of Hong Kong's first 5-year plan carries clear historical and institutional significance. It marks the SARS governance model shifting from short-term adjustment to strategic coordination, and reflects Hong Kong's repositioning within the nation's broader development agenda. If the plan successfully incorporates transparency, robust evaluation mechanisms, and market-oriented principles in its institutional design, it will become a vital opportunity to modernize governance. The real challenge lies not in planning itself, but in how to preserve openness within planning and maintain vitality throughout institutional transformation. This may well be the central issue for Hong Kong's development in its new phase.